Well, welcome to MindShifters Radio. Today is Friday, January the 2nd, 2026. We welcome you to the show. It's good to see you, Susan and Anita and Regina. Glad that you were able to join us. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, dear heart, and welcome everybody, especially to you, Regina. It's been, my goodness, probably close to 20 years since we spoke, and I got an email from Regina in response to our newsletter saying hello. And Regina St. Clair is someone who did this work many years ago, was to Heartland a few times. I actually treasure a huge sound bowl, Regina, that you gave us way back when, and I still play with that bowl from time to time. So appreciate the fact that you're here. And if you hit your mute button, we'd love to hear your sweet voice. And I understand you shared with me that you've been a few times around the sun and you're just starting your Substack newsletter. So if you'd like to share anything about that, you're certainly welcome to push your mute button. If you're on a phone, it's *6, I believe. And that unmutes you. And other than that, we'll just say welcome. There she is. Hey there.
Hi.
Delight to see you. We can't hear your mute buttons on, Regina. Are you on a computer?
I just clicked a thing asking you to unmute, so you might have got a little pop-up.
There you go. Hey,
Hi.
miracles happen. Welcome. Such a delight to see your face.
Thank you. You too. Both of you.
Hey. So it was just delightful to reconnect with you after so many years and to hear that you're starting your Substack. And you had shared with me you've been around the sun now, was it 40, 45 times now?
I'm going on 90 in a couple of days, a couple of months, weeks.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Tell us about your Substack. Welcome, Solly, too.
Well, I haven't started it yet. I'm it's called Confused, Ask Confucius. And Confucius, I've been studying the Eastern wisdoms for the last 50 years. I retired early at 50, and I've been traveling the world and studying different traditions, including certainly Michael Ryce and why is this happening to me again and again and again? And some of those answers I have found to be true in the Asian wisdom, and particularly Confucius. Most people don't know about Confucius except his quotes. He has little sayings, but they're all wonderful. But I think the Confucius teaching, if people are willing to do it, it really is what you're doing. Start with yourself. You be a loving person, be that with everybody else, and that can easily change the world one person at a time. And it's just another way of doing what many of us are doing in a variety of ways. I also facilitate a thing called the Great Harmony Continues, which is based on the Confucian. And people from around the world are on that. And I'm doing another thing called Doing the Decades, and that's going back in your life and healing anything unlike love. Where'd that come from?
Whoa, where'd we hear that one before?
And I always think of you as unlike love, and I added instantly and permanently. Because,
yay.
Yeah, we can do it instantly and we can do it permanently. I mean, that really works. And of course, some of the tapping stuff, the emotional freedom stuff, I've been around a long time doing a lot of stuff, just like you guys. So I've just kind of integrated it. I'm doing a thing now called conscious messaging. Every sensation, thought, and word we have is a message. What do we concentrate on? Are we cleaning up our karma in the moment? All that stuff. So that's it.
Well, I used to be a used karma salesman, so I know about that. Well, it's a delight. I don't know. I don't recall now. It's got to be
20?
At least 20, maybe a little. It's like probably the late 90s, the last time you were at Heartland, right?
Let's see. I retired in 86, 68 to 86. And then I was probably with you within that 10 years after that.
It was probably shortly after that that was your first trip to Heartland. Anyway, it's just awesome to say hello and have you here, and delighted to have you on the team and to be on yours. That the
Thanks.
work has impacted your life and
Oh,
sufficiently that you're back to play. It's awesome.
awesome.
And you'll have to once you've got your Substack set up, let us know, and we'll put it in the chat so everybody can tap into your Substack.
That's sweet. Thank you so much.
All right. Delight to say hello, Regina. Blessings. And welcome, Tammy. You look like you're squinting, and you look like you're out in the sun.
I didn't realize I had my camera on.
You did. You've been squinting at us in the sun. So how are you? How are things in Mexico?
Sunny.
No? No, it looks like it from here. It looks like pretty good.
It's just peeking through.
Ah, cool. So what's exciting in your world today?
I'm sitting on the beach listening to the radio show. How much more exciting can it get?
You're just trying to tease us, aren't you?
No, definitely not.
Actually, we've got about 35
join
degrees
me if
here.
you want.
Yeah, we've got about
we have an
35.
extra bed.
Yeah, we got these grandbabies, though. You know, they kind of, we just aren't getting far away from the grandbabies these days. That's our one of our number one commitments. In fact, we've got the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday next week. So we're getting prepared and looking forward to that.
Yeah, because you didn't get to see them that much while they were sick, right?
Right. Yep. They had a whole week where they had the flu, and so we were out of the loop and
missing them.
Did. Yeah. Well, it's not so much missing, but certainly absence does definitely create a longing for. I want that hug. You know. I want that hug. So
yes,
we're blessed.
Yes. Send more pictures of the babies.
Yeah.
Please.
Cool. All right. Well, anything exciting to share?
Logan was just that one you sent
Lincoln.
of Logan. Just Lincoln. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. The one where I'm holding him.
No, he was in his high chair.
Oh, okay.
And yes, that just made me smile and my heart just beam.
Well,
it was awesome.
I think Jeannie put the video in the text from the intensive, and we had gotten him a pair of little running shoes that have a squeaker in them. And he put them on, and once he realized that he was making the squeak, you couldn't stop him. He was just up and down the hallway and around and back. And, you know, at first it just made this little bit of noise, and then when he stomped his feet, these shoes would squeak, and he just loved it. He had a blast with it. So that was a cute video, too. So anything for you to share today?
Nope, just enjoying life.
All right, delighted. Joining you and enjoying it. You know, the fact that when we start to move into responsibility language and breath and move out all the thought disorders that we tend to point at everybody else that are based in our own dissociated hostility and fear, that what ends up being our lives is the physiological presence of love. It's pretty awesome. What a gift.
Yeah.
So joining you in that one.
Yeah, I feel something stirring. I'm not quite sure what it is yet, but
something wonderful.
Something wonderful, something healing. Another opportunity.
Oh, another opportunity to learn forgiveness. Yeah. Yay! Good for you.
Yeah. Just started something else with 11/11, guys. Well, it is here, and me and Linda Westman are the only ones that I know. Linda's not on anyway.
It's now 111 here. So you got the 11/11, 111.
Yeah.
We've got lots of 11s here. Not sure what that means, but cool.
It's supposed to be the number of manifesting.
Well, I join everyone in manifesting the best year yet of your eternal life. That's my wish, the space I hold for everyone here.
Yeah, I see it a lot, and so I try to take a moment to put out that energy to manifest good things in our lives.
Here's a comment that I came across. I'm just going to pop in the chat. The breath remembers God when the mind cannot. I just came across that statement recently. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a good one.
So how's everybody else? Welcome. Oh, Miss Joan. Oh, my goodness. Joan is with us. We haven't seen you in a few months, so glad that you're here. How are things in Birmingham? Anything for you to share with us from, well, I was going to, an old thought came to mind about letters from the Birmingham jail, but we don't want that one. Anything to share with us from Birmingham, Joan?
Well, it's been a challenging year for my sisters, and so that's occupied a lot of my attention. But things are evening out and looking good. And
nice.
we're all excited about the new year. And I'm excited about starting my morning with worksheets and the laws of living. I'm going to pull out my notebook and
redo it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking at, we might in the new year, once we finish the facilitated codependence to interdependence communication study on Zoom, which will probably be sometime in the, I don't know, it'll probably takes another 2 or 3 months, but we're looking at maybe doing an online Zoom laws of living, thinking it will probably be an 18-week study online, and then we'll have it as a self-study as well, which I think will be awesome. So right now we've got the codependence to interdependence communication self-study, but that'll give us another one. But that's the one we're looking at doing next. We've had several people expressing interest in that. So it would be cool, as you go back through laws of living, Joan, if as ideas rise up in new ways that are exciting and interesting, that maybe you just, as you're going through redoing that study, that you share it with us. And Cami recently got a new laws of living book and is planning on doing the same thing. So maybe you two could connect and do some of that work together even. So
Maybe
who knows?
so.
But it'd be cool to hear, insights as they come that help to remind us.
Yeah, I'll be happy to share any insights.
That sounds awesome, Joan. Michael, if you can send us each
other's phone numbers,
information.
I'll do it.
On.
Yeah, absolutely, I'll do it. Very cool.
Thank you. Hey, Joan.
Hi.
Joan, aren't you? You live in Birmingham, right?
Correct.
I think I met you. Are you the minister at Unity?
I'm a prayer chaplain.
Okay.
Joan was at the workshops you were at, Cami, when the last time I was in Birmingham. Joan was there at several of them, yes.
I thought that I had met you before, and for some reason, I don't know, maybe you were kind of leading the intensive or the workshop when we were down there?
In Birmingham, I was hosting Michael and Jeannie.
Okay, that's why I thought
we stayed in Joan's home.
You were the okay. I knew I met you.
Yeah.
And where are you located?
I'm in Missouri. No,
okay.
But
now I remember I was impressed that you traveled that distance.
Oh yeah, 2 weekends in a row, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll make sure to send each of you the other phone numbers. Anybody else? Anything exciting to share?
Yes.
Push that mute button. Say hello. Go for it.
Yeah, Kimmy and Joan, I just plugged that tape in last weekend and started watching The Laws of Living, but I didn't know there was a book that went with it, and I was going to ask about that. What book are you talking about?
Okay, there's a 2-hour video of Laws of Living,
That's the
That
only
is
thing I have.
an introduction and a starting point for it. But then there's a whole, when we do it as a residential intensive, 16-day residential intensive on laws of living, that has a manual. It's done in a whole different method from any of our other intensives. It's done in the Socratic method of asking questions. And it comes out of and really looks at on a whole deeper level the Aramaic meaning of words. It was a program that I mentioned the other day, Judge Asa Kelly in Albany, Georgia. This is a man that ran the whole prison system in the state of Georgia and was a Superior Court judge, ended up in his latter years being a Superior Court judge in Albany, Georgia. And it was at Judge Kelly's request that we created Laws of Living. Dan McDougall, my partner, had a course that he had taught in the prisons called Emotional Maturity Instruction. And when Dan and I met, I had been doing a thing. I had created a program for a school system in South Florida called Lessons in Living. And when Dan and I met and found we had been traveling parallel paths with the Aramaic, the conversation unfolded, and we ended up combining my work with Dan's emotional maturity instruction, and that became Laws of Living. And that's what we taught in the prison system down there, and cut recidivism by over 90%. Getting the meaning of words right is a big key, and that's a part of Laws of Living. So there are several essays. There are 8 lessons, all done in the Socratic method of asking questions and discussion and process, and of course forgiveness and still point breathing. So we'll perhaps be doing that.
I will share my information with Joan and Tammy, if you would.
I'll do it.
It's nice to see your face.
Can I butt in, you guys?
Yeah, I wish I could see your faces.
Oh gosh. Well, okay. I just got done teaching a spin class, so
There you go.
we are.
Tammy, turn your camera on too.
And
I'm trying.
I actually might like to join you. I've been thinking of pulling out my Laws of Living.
Got a whole gang here.
Awesome. Go for it.
Oh,
That would be fabulous. I know,
It's
Carrie, you
awesome.
at one point were working toward perhaps taking it into the prison system there in Illinois. Has anything developed in that regard?
I did some research, and they're not. I was kind of shut out. So I don't know what to do next. So I even thought, maybe what I could do is work with people who are on parole.
Mm-hmm.
And I called a couple of parole officers and didn't get any response. So when I get back from India at the end of February, I'm going to reach out again and see if I can get something going this year.
That would be awesome. But yes, I'll get those phone numbers out as soon as we finish the show. Cool.
I have a question.
So
about
Laws of
the-
Living, before we get there, just let me throw in one thought. One of the core ideas behind Laws of Living when you go to the Aramaic is that, remember that the non-being mind has a cheap copy of everything real in the spiritual dimension, and we're told that law is the rule of a superior, that there's a superior and you better follow that law or you're in deep doo-doo, you're in deep trouble. In Aramaic, the word law has got nothing to do with the rule of a superior. The word law simply means the way things work. This is the way it works. This is how, if you want to be a human being, like for instance, you go to Yeshua, they say to him, what's most important in the law? And they're basically asking, how do we be human beings? He does not say, as the Greeks report, love your neighbor or love God as yourself. He says, have Rachma for the creator, for neighbor, and thereby maintain yourself, your human life. And so Rachma, it turns out, is a filter in the frontal lobes of the brain that when active filters out negative and destructive intentions, which leaves your mind with only intentions keyed to love. And since intentions are the raw material of goals, all goals then are based in love. And when all goals are based in love, then a second filter in the mind kicks in, And there are no words for this in the English language, but there's a second filter called Kuba, which has a similar function as Rachma has over intentions. Kuba has over perceptions that allows the mind to only use units of perceptual memory keyed to love and building your perception. So now you just protected the integrity of your human mind and you maintained your human life. It had nothing to do with loving your neighbor, going around, don't love your neighbor. It's like, yeah, good luck. I think that telling someone to love their neighbor is probably one of the most destructive pieces of advice that you could ever give someone, and making that an idea that comes from God and that God's going to be really peeved if you don't do it. Because, of course, we know the world works by resonance. So let's say I have some form of hostility or fear in me. I'm going to pull somebody in, neighbor. In Aramaic, the word neighbor means anybody that you think about. I'm going to pull somebody in that's going to resonate my hostility or fear. No question about it. And if they resonate my hostility or fear, and I'm standing there going, no, I need to love you, I need to love you, I need to love you, I'm in trouble. As opposed to, in Aramaic, what was being said was, maintain your human life. Live as the presence of love. You do that by having Rachma and Kuba active and having a mind that supports you living as a human being. So all of your human faculties are available. Now, living as a human being, what comes forward is compassion, the presence of love, caring, and all of those human attributes, rather than the hostility and fear that most of us have carried around for too long unresolved. In having Rachma and Kuba active, we get to resolve all of our hostility and fear and end up in physiological serenity in every situation, every circumstance. Whereas we live in a world that if something happens that triggers my hostility or fear and I'm in some sort of physical pain or disturbance or upset, what does most everybody in our culture do when they're in some sort of physical, mental, emotional pain or upset? They talk about how somebody else is the problem in their lives. And in Aramaic, Yeshua would say, hey, cut it, stop, get back to a connected space of love before you say a word about anybody else. If you're in some sort of pain or disturbance, stop focusing on anybody or anything out there. Come back inside and heal what it is that's creating your pain and disturbance, and you get to have a human life. It's like, that's the law, the basic premise of the law in the true Aramaic sense of it. So I'm delighted that you guys are going to get back together and get a study of that going. That's awesome. Cool.
Hey, Michael.
Welcome, Miss Susan.
Hi, everybody. And so nice to see, is it Regina? Yeah, I know that soul.
Yes.
I can recognize all the soul family.
Regina's been doing this work for about the last 30 years or so. We were trying to establish earlier where she just kind of showed back up in our lives. But
perfect.
She was at Heartland 2 or 3 times back in the 90s, maybe the late 80s. I'm not sure exactly, but
and she's right on
welcome
time.
Home.
She's right on time. I just want to add to what you said about, because you and I have had this discussion about it's all physiology, and the Bible has taken the information and they've made it outside of ourselves. And so, of course, what's landed to me over the holidays is all around the 144,000 and then the 12 disciples. And it really is the 12 cranial nerves that originate at the brainstem. And when we bring them all together, all the parts, and there's numerous ones of them, 12 of them, and once they come into alignment at the pineal, in the inner consciousness is where the Christ resides, then the body comes into harmony. And then the light can fully come in. And then I was showing also this 144,000, it's the tree branches of, the 12 cranial nerves and what's actually physiologically happening in the body. And it showed when we're holding distortion, so this energy, need to flow, the central spinal fluid to flow and be pure. But if you're holding any distortion or any incoherence patterns with emotions, with thoughts, etc., then that fluid is not pure by the time it circulates in 33 days. So thank you for what you're just saying. It really is an inside job, and Regina said it as well. It's just staying inwards and being able to face every moment that's not God. healing our own mind and purifying the physiology so the spirit can really incarnate into the physiology.
The breath.
Mm-hmm.
Let's remember once again, I'm going to bring us back. I'll keep bringing this one back because we've really been infected, is my take, with Greek philosophy and Greek cosmology that has been superimposed on the Aramaic. And in Aramaic, there's not even a word for spirit. It's breath. It is in our own breathing that our quote-unquote salvation lies. And to deny the breath is, when the Greeks talked about denying the Holy Spirit, they were basically saying, stop holding your breath, because if you hold your breath, you're locking energy in, and you're not allowing the intelligence and the healing power of the breath that you share with the Creator to heal you.
Exactly. And I'm experiencing that. I'm like the physiology is, because there's constrictions, especially right now. I'm processing in the Sacred Heart, and also deep down into right in my hara, right down in there, and then right at the root, and then using the breath just to continue to purify. And obviously with the levels of awareness, saying that it is physiology, and when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So getting these insights around the cranial nerves, it's awesome.
Nice. And allowing that breath to keep reaching deeper and deeper and deeper is so important.
And lifetimes old. Like I can feel this at a soul level. It's this is a big time for the soul. Like it feels like all the fractals of different lifetimes are actually being purified to come back to its holiness, which is wholeness. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
that story about, and the average person spends their first 40 years in the desert, in the unconscious. That story about the Jews wandering in the desert was not about being lost in a hot, sandy 35 square mile area. It was about functioning unconsciously. And what had to happen to get out of the unconscious? The old generation had to die off. Not everybody in old physical bodies, but the root of the word generation is genare. It means cause. All of the causes that we do not allow ourselves to yield up to the breath, that we deny access to the healing power of that breath is. Yay. And Regina, you had a thought for us?
Well, now I understand why I came today.
Okay, well, tell us.
Well, I'll try to be brief because I could go on for an hour, but I've been working with the Chinese wisdom for the last 22 years. And you're really talking about everything that I've been learning in the Chinese wisdom, the Asian wisdom, the Qigong, the breathing, the whole thing. And I'd love to have an Aramaic. I've thought about doing it, but I don't remember enough of it. I hold on to that whole purity of the Aramaic, which is, there's none other like it. And it's so matching what I'm learning in the Asian Tao work, Confucian, Tao, Buddhist, all that stuff. And I'm very much involved with the Connecticut Asian Cultural Center, and I'm a docent and a presenter for them. And I think I'm trying to build a bridge between East and West, and to show you that the truth is the truth, but how we talk about it, we have not yet the language for it yet to integrate the work that you're doing in the Aramaic and the work that I'm doing, similar. Not just I only, but many people are doing this. So I would love to have a chat with you about it. Take much longer than now, but I just want you to know why I was led here today, why I had to be here.
Well, that's awesome. And it's interesting how there's this story around the birth of Yeshua, and there's this star, and there are three wise men, who come from Persia, which is modern day Iran. And they come all that way on their camels. And then the story stops like, oh, well, okay, that was it. They're gone. There's a document that purports. Go ahead. There's a document that was recently uncovered in Persia, modern day Iran, that at least some people who are working with it have authenticated it, that says that when the three magi from Persia left their gifts, one of the things that they left behind was a contract to educate this young avatar that was coming into the world. And that at the age of 13, he went back to be trained. And it's interesting that there's a big deal made of these magi. There's songs about them and all that. And then all of a sudden they're gone like nothing else. They never came back. There was nothing else to it. And there's this, this young man, all of a sudden at the age of 12 disappears. And there's nothing until the age of 30. Well, he was being trained. And that's been covered up, unfortunately.
Are you familiar with the Baha'i faith?
Somewhat, yes.
Yeah, and I'm thinking
very attuned.
Well, yeah, Persian, absolutely. Because a part of my Great Harmony is an interfaith, multicultural, intergenerational approach to bringing the pieces back together, the fracturing that's been done all the way through history, of course.
Yes.
And, this is the time to come together in that common ground of oneness. And I think Aramaic's voice is extremely important in this, especially the Judeo-Christian, the three Godhead types. But anyway, there's much work to be done. And I just know Aramaic has to be a part of it.
Well, I'll send you a link. There was a radio show I did back, I don't know, 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago. I'm not sure. One day so much is not the same as the next, but I did several months ago on the degradation of Yeshua's original words when they were taken out of the Aramaic and brought into the Greek language, and then brought into the Latin, and then brought into the Old English. You can trace the degradation of the ideas and the integrity of the original teaching, and how it was changed to remove, literally the main thing that was done is that the enlivening power of the breath of the Creator, which is literally what gives intelligence to this piece of clay, because the piece of clay itself has no intelligence whatsoever. It's just a piece of clay, but that the breath is what brings in intelligence and thinking. And how those ideas were degraded when they were taken to the Greeks. And all of a sudden, the solution that we were given at the moment of our first breath, the breath of the Creator, was taken out of our mouths, and it was turned into some kind of ghosty, disembodied spirit thing. And literally the core solution to every dilemma, the thing that cleans up and dissolves every energy that does not belong within human physiology, that brings intelligence and healing in, all of a sudden became some kind of a churchianity. There's a ghost that we're going to give you a spirit thing we're going to give you if you obey our rules. And the thing that cleans up our multi-generational database, this body-mind unit, carbon-based memory, and brings the capacity to literally think and speak into us is our breath. There are gifts that come with our breath, and the Greeks turned it as some gifts from this ghost. So I'll send you a link to that presentation I did on the show back a couple months ago.
Great, thanks.
I think you'll find it interesting. Well, does that resonate anything for anybody else?
Hi,
You started, Terry, with a question? Excuse me, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Terry. I think Terry had something else to add.
No, I'm just going to get I have questions about a worksheet, so go ahead.
Go for it. We got something else on this same topic we're talking about, so we'll do that. Otherwise, we'll go to the worksheet.
Yeah, it is on the same topic.
Go for
it. So just briefly, because I want to make sure Terry has time to do her worksheet, Cammie sent me a link to an explanation of the Gospel of Philip. And it was a blueprint to ascension, basically, on things that you needed to do. And one of the things that it talked about in there was that have shifted. Religions took away exactly what you said. They took away this idea that you yourself have what they call the monad within you, or the divine spark of source within you. And had you worship this other God that is controlling, the God of the Old Testament that is judgmental and will punish you and all of these things. And that God is kind of set himself up to be worshipped so that he can control and to keep you away from your divine internal source energy, which is called the monad. And, it's really interesting to me that that particular teaching was there in the Gospel of Philip, which was thrown out of the Bible, one of those things that was thrown out of the Bible, and that is now coming up in a lot of teachings, like the teachings of Gurdjieff that came up in the 18th century, and all of the mystics in the Eastern world, D. Walkul and Madame Blavatsky and all of that. So, and the mystics of India, Babaji. So I'm really resonating with what you're saying on a whole different level, because I have, as you've been talking about this, and I've been reading about it from other places, and I can't remember, I think Regina said that it's all truth and it's coming together in different language. It's being languaged differently, but it's all the same concept. So I was just kind of thrilled to listen to that recording that Cami sent me. It was really, really interesting. So thank you, Cami. And there's other things about it in there I wanted to talk about with you.
Put a link in the notes if you would.
Put the link to the video. Oh, sure. I'll put that in the chat.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Cami? I'm not sure where you got it from, but I will put it in there.
I doubt that Philip would mind.
No, I doubt that Philip would mind either. I think that it's wanted to be shared. I will do that.
Well,
maybe we'll make that our next study.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah, there you go.
Philip. It's Philip.
Well, she's Philip's representative here on Earth,
Yeah.
We'll write a new book. It'll be the Book of Cami.
The Book
of Representative Philip.
Yeah.
I found my secondary purpose. Yay. No, of course I don't mind. That was given to me. Actually, Michael, that was posted in our intensive group chat by Linda. It was the one I was talking about yesterday.
Oh, cool.
I didn't speak about it so eloquently, though. So, yep,
cool.
That's the one.
Awesome. Fabulous.
Hey, also earlier I was wanting to just say that with the laws of living, one of the reasons why I want to do it is because on I'm having issues with my phone. Okay. The lessons on the results from the personal code evaluation.
Right.
It has in there for like your challenges, it'll tell you like specific exercises or lessons in the laws of living. Yeah, where to focus. And I have that one that I was talking about yesterday, the honor of self, that I really, really need to get that up with my truth and love for others. And so that's one of the main reasons why I'm super excited about doing it. Plus, I took that intensive, oh gosh, 25 years ago. I
At
barely
least,
remember any of it. So hopefully it'll like all come back and I think I didn't get it that much because I think that was like the second year after I met you
right? That
that
was
I had
one that
taken.
Dan. Now you were blessed because you had Dan teaching it with me. If you remember, Dan McDougall was there teaching it.
I,
Do you remember Dan?
mm, I think we must be talking about a different time. I don't remember meeting Dan.
No, from when we first created Laws of Living, and it may just be not in the memory bank, but from
Okay.
when we first connected and created Laws of Living, every year Dan would come to Heartland and we do a Laws of Living class, 16-day. That
Okay.
was
Maybe I didn't realize he was who you're talking about all the time because that was like my second and third intensive.
right.
So now over the years I've heard you speak about Dan so much that maybe I just didn't connect those two. But I didn't mean
Right.
to go off subject. I just wanted to
It's
throw
okay.
that in there earlier and
Cool.
didn't. So while I was talking, I thought I'd put that
Okay. Cool.
forward too.
And of course, one of the big focuses on Laws of Living is regulatory speech. And, I had announced yesterday that I was going to start this month out, or this year out, with looking at the On Creating Consciously work, and that recognizing that one of the first steps into creating your life consciously is to learn to language honestly and accurately. And if you think about it, there is no natural language in our culture that reflects responsibility communication. Most of us have never seen someone speak up responsibly about their feelings and their realities. If you think about that, how many times is somebody's in pain and trauma and there are whole conversations about somebody or something else, as though that somebody or something else is the cause of what's going on inside of them, which just reinforces the pain and trauma, because when we think or speak as though something outside of us is the cause of what's moving in us, we have to dissociate from what's moving in us. And we've got to end that dissociation. And so the shift into responsibility communication becomes key. And you think about, how many of us, if we look back in our lives and childhoods, how many of us ever had anybody around us, aunts, uncles, mom, dad, big sisters, big brothers, cousins, uncles, aunts, that were upset, and when they were upset, they actually spoke like they knew they were responsible. I had this really angry interaction with somebody, and up came my anger, and I was in such rage, and I realized that I really need to heal my rage and stop hurting my body with it. I realized that what do most of us hear? Oh yeah, when he did that, man, he made me so mad, and I'm never going to speak to him again because he did that to me. And that's the modeling that most of us have. And my offering in terms of tying this together in this study of creating is that a mind that's filled with untruth, and the simplest untruth, the simplest lie that our culture tells, comes with the words, "You made me." And that mind that's filled with untruth is a treason to the truth. And literally the whole communication style of the world is treason against the truth. If we're speaking from carbon-based memory rather than from the breath that gives us the capacity to truly speak, then the carbon-based memory system, the body, so-called body of Adam, Adamos, is limited to its own wiring and input. If that mind has no higher input, it will be controlled by whatever the source of the input is. The simple phrase, "I was really upset by the way you talked to me," is a total betrayal of a person's creative responsibility and ability. And then go back and you hear Yeshua, and they ask him, what's most important in the law? Again, he doesn't say love your neighbor, love God, love yourself. He says have Rachma for the Creator, for neighbor. By holding Rachma, you maintain your human life. And then he says, what I believe are the 11 most important words ever spoken. He says, for upon this hangs the law and all its prophets. On this condition of Rachma in your mind, if you don't have it, don't even bother picking up a Bible, because all you'll do is have carbon-based memory telling you its story in the Bible. And you know, I mean, we've seen some pretty crazy things justified by people reading quotes out of the Bible and believing them, you know. Things like, you know, how many times have you heard? I know I've heard it many times over the years. Well, you know, even Moses said an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, that vengeance was okay. And without Rachma, it sounds like an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth for Moses sounds like an okay of vengeance. From a mind of hostility or fear, that's how the carbon-based memory, that's how that mind reads it. But if you go to a mind of love, if you go to Rachma, you don't hear Moses giving permission to do anything to anybody. What you hear is Moses putting a limit on what you can do. In other words, okay, so if somebody came along and knocked out your tooth and you are so locked in that you have to have vengeance, you can go knock out his tooth. But you can't go kill his whole family, which is what they were doing back then. You know, for the slightest insult, people would go and wipe out a whole village. You hear it, and they justify it by saying God told them to do it. You go kill every man, woman, child, and animal in that village because this boy had intercourse with your daughter. And there's this belief that God said to do that. And Moses was saying, whoa, I'm putting a cap on it. All right, if somebody did something to you, the most you can do is do it back to them, but you can't do any more. And everything turns on the condition of Rachma in the mind. And when we don't have Rachma, when we have hostility fear, when we have pain, we have trauma going on in our body, stop talking about anything or anybody else and go inside and talk about what you need to forgive in yourself to free yourself of that. First law of creating. So don't go to the law and the prophets until you've got this condition of Rachma in your mind. For without that condition, you won't be able to see the message of love. You'll read it through your own filters of hostility or fear, and you'll place in the mouth of the prophets messages that were never intended by them. So we want to put a change. We want to really recognize that one. And Miss Terry, you have a thought for us.
I have a question.
Please.
Okay, so if I'm just going to start a worksheet with the idea of chronic pain, would it be my goal? Is that my goal?
Well, you're going to have to tell me more. So you're saying I've got some chronic pain going on, and I want to do a worksheet and work through forgiving as to that. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, sir.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. So my take would be this. There could be many starting points for that, but my offering would be that, of course, the goal would be to have physical comfort, I would think, in that situation. So then I'd start off with that as being my answer. In number 1C, my goal is to be in comfort physically, to feel good physically. And then, of course, comes the silly, ridiculous thing of canceling my need for that. But if I do cancel my need for that, and I allow myself, if I follow the instruction of the worksheet and I actually breathe, then I'm going to open the barrier. You know, when they said that in the ancient teachings, the veil of the temple must be rent in twain, they were not talking about a purple curtain in a church. They were talking about the barrier between the subconscious and the unconscious mind. So the veil of the temple The barrier needs to open. The barrier is built with the breath. If I cancel my goal, and then you'll notice immediately following that canceling goal thing is breathe, and I take a breath, then I'm going to start to open the veil, and I'm going to be able to drop inside of my physiology. And perhaps I'll be able to experience this sensation that I call painful as just a sensation. Like I might at that point, having opened the veil that holds the trauma locked in tissue, thereby intensifying the pain, I might find myself being able to breathe, soften, and open that a little bit and start to shift into experiencing, there's a sensation in my body. Back probably 2 years ago now, we had just gone through a thing with Aria where she had hurt herself, and we walked her through dealing with the pain in her body. And I forget who it was. It actually might have been Susan Bingham that came on and was talking about pain. And Aria got on the call. I think she was about 5.5 at that point, and walked her through going into and experiencing the pain in her body as a sensation, and feeling, identifying what size it was, breathing into it, what color is it, what shape is it. And as you start to do that, you build a different relationship with what the energetic patterns are in your body. So that would be one approach to it. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'll work with that. Thank you. I'm
Yeah,
complete.
and just the thing, something I focus on a lot in the first couple of sessions of Quantum Still Point is encouraging people to go into their physiology and sensations that they've labeled as painful, to let go of that label, because half of the suffering that goes along with it or more then becomes mental. Being able to change the mind and experience this, and this is interesting. There's a sensation. Wow, this sensation in my big toe or my leg is very intense. And now I can go in and explore it and change the dynamic of it. Cool. Any other thoughts, questions?
No, thank you.
Go for it.
Complete.
Okay, go for it, Regina.
Well, I had a recent experience. I've been telling my friends that I'm going to die of technology. Because
Cancel that thought.
I know, but technology is very stressful, right? So I was getting very, very upset one day, and immediately I got a stomachache. And immediately it threw off all of my digestion. So that was a turning point. I says, I'm going to use technology to heal myself. So I changed the whole narrative. And it was quite amazing because I got in touch, long story short, I got in touch with 2 things I need to do, and I did them. And it caused me to step back, my reactions, that is, 4 steps. So I would not respond in anything other than that just happened and what is mine to do. Now I'm using my own language here, but it was amazing because it was so quick. Because I use this, my silent watcher to find out what I'm doing in my mind. And it was an immediate, but it's amazing because I use a lot of technology, and being older, is forcing me to slow down and be what I should have been doing 30 years ago, Michael. It's taken a while to get there. But
so the technology wasn't stressful at all, but you were creating stress for yourself over technology.
Big time, big time. So
that's the difference between denial and ownership.
Right.
Is that out there doing it to me? When I can bring it home, I realize I'm the creator of this. I'm the one who's doing it to myself. And, maybe I could stop. Then I can give it up.
But every stage of life is a new opportunity to practice this. We never quite get it. It goes on forever because every situation is new, right? As we get older, you have new things to start practicing what you're doing with. And sometimes we assume we have it all, right?
Yeah. And maybe we could even give up this lie about energy, which is eternal, aging.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, every cell in your structure, every atom has been around for millions of years. It's going to be around for millions of years. Maybe you're not aging at all. Maybe there's no such thing. Maybe we just made that whole story up. In fact, there's a group called the DeCourcy Clinic in Cincinnati. And this goes back at least 4 decades ago. And I went to a medical conference. And the research, the person who was leading the research for this clinic was presenting at the medical conference. And the conclusion of their research on aging was so profound to me, it burned into my brain, and I've always remembered it verbatim. And here's what they said. Time is not toxic. Time has no effect on human tissues under any conditions. It is the belief in the effects of time by those who subscribe to such a belief that acts as a poison. So it's a whole story we made up, and if we give it up, why would we even choose to age? Why wouldn't we just give that whole story up? Become willing, and this is something that for me I did personally probably 3 decades ago, is I started to ask Ruka, the breath, show me everything, every energy, every frequency of death that has ever killed anybody in my bloodline, and assist and support me in forgiving it, undoing it, and being free of it. What if we each took everything that killed our mothers and fathers and grandfathers and grandmothers and great. What if we took every frequency with which they killed themselves, because all that I would offer is suicide, and we were to give them up? Maybe there would be no reason to age, to superimpose a picture upon this eternal energy system that would make it appear to degrade because of time. Maybe we could just give that up. And I'm going to invite you, Regina, to get your pen out and put a note on your calendar. We have a New Year's Eve party planned at Heartland, December 31st, in the year 4949. Please put that on your calendar and plan to be there. Plan to join us. We're doing it. Yes, Susan, I'm with you. Yes, every one of you, put it on your calendar. December 31st, 4949. Be there or be square. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Have a blessed one and the best year yet of your eternal life. We appreciate and breathe with each and every one of you.